Phillies and Genticles, welcome back to Pony Fanfiction Theater. I'm your host Nate, I'll be your narrator for today. With me is Blakewood83. Edgewood Blake. Damn it, I messed that up. Oh, whatever, let's get this over with then. This story is called No Pony Can Resist Them. You can read along in the description. Link is there. Alright, let's begin. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a shipping. Well, not a clopfic, you know. And all that. Alright, let's begin. You cannot be serious, Soren. It's only been a hour and a half since dinner time and your stomach is already growling? Spitfire asked in disbelief as she looked across to her fellow Wonderbolt, the wind nose having decreased to a level where words could be heard through regular speech rather than hoarse roars to the others. Or alternatively, the grumble of a certain blue Pegasus colt's belly. You know me, Spitfire. I get cranky if I don't get my dessert, and that bloody salad we had for main course was nothing at all, muttered the colt irritably as his wings began to slow his descent, coming into Rainbow Dash's cloud castle. The Wonderbolts had been invited to the Canterlot's noble homes for dinner, though it had quickly become more of a publicity thing for the unicorn dressmaker, as he spent the entire mealtime trying to arrange a clothing tie-up with the Wonderbolt's leader. Needless to say, Spitfire was not enjoying the time spent sitting at the table and hearing her boss and some blue blood try to talk money and numbers. She just suggested to Soren. Oh wait, did I read that? Damn it.
She'd suggest to Soren that
Yeah, she just suggested to Soren that they bolt as soon as they as they got a chance, just as the dishes were being cleared after a third course before dessert. It took a lot to dissuade Soren from his food, but the thought of yet another pass by the unicorn's spoiled daughter sitting opposite him had convinced him to head with Spitfire to her new best friend's pad. It seemed that the crackling storm clouds the two Wonderbolts had left behind had attracted the attention of an unusually lazy Pegasus filly, and Rainbow was standing at the entrance to her castle, grinning broadly as the two suited figures came in to land just before her. Well, hey now, I didn't think I was that cool that the Wonderbolts would show up on my doorstep so unannounced. Guess I underestimated myself sometimes. The rainbow maned blue female said with a huge grin, as she gave Spitfire an enthusiastic hug, followed by a more sedate handshake with Soren. Spitfire grinned at her friend's familiar nature and began to trot towards the door with a glance around. Same old, eh, Rainbow? How's Scootaloo? She asked as Soren made his way in after her and Rainbow as both Wonderbolts eased off their spandex racing outfits. Though not particularly necessary, the two always preferred the feel of wind in their fur when they could, and after wearing the outfits for so long, it was about time they got some fresh air. Dash kicked up a storm cloud as she talked, positioning it over both Pegasi. Did I say that word right? Pegasi?
Yeah, it's usually pronounced Pegasi, the plural term.
Oh, okay. And beginning to hop up and down upon it, washing the sweat of both Wonderbolts. Oh, she's fine, thanks. I've been spending a bit more time with her of late. Her parents have had another fall, so she's usually out of the house to get away from the crying. So she's usually about trying to chase me on her scooter. She chuckled as she put the clouds away, letting her guests drip dry. It's kind of cute, really, and she's good with that thing, I think. She attempted to continue, cut off by an enormous rumble from Soren's stomach. The blue colt flushed a little under his coat while Spitfire burst out laughing, soon followed by Rainbow Dash. Hungry much, Soren? She asked, nudging him in the side playfully as Soren stuck his tongue out at her. Maybe. Is there anywhere to get food at this time of night of Ponyville? She asked, glancing down on one of Rainbow's strategically placed holes on the inner floor for her viewing pleasure when she got too lazy to go down to the ground herself. Rainbow nodded, pointing to a small house a bit further out of town. A few lights still on the arched farmhouse windows. Go to Sweet Apple Acres. As for Applejack, tell her Dash sent you. She might give you a discount. Or she might ask you to cover one of my bills from last time, she said, with a slightly sheepish grin. Soren groaned a little, but smiled as nodded at the two girls, leaving them to discuss tricks and future plans. He was glad that Spitfire had found a friend, or maybe a student of sorts of Rainbow Dash. His old-time friend had never been one to get many female friends in Cloudsdale, and he thought it was healthy for the two girls to spend so much time together. He got to the edge of the Cloud Palace and aimed himself right at the orchard with a grin. Well famous for his sweet tooth in the Wonderbolts, Soren didn't get a place on the team for nothing. And like all Wonderbolts, the Blue Colt was an insufferable show-off at the best of times. Using the bounce of the clouds to get some height, he leapt straight off the edge of Rainbow Dash's home and directed himself at a direct plummet to the ground, wings tucked in. He wouldn't be hitting his near-sonic speeds without his drag reduction suit or goggles, but the Colt could go fast enough to scare most nearby birds. As he felt the wind whip in his mane and breeze through his fur. Now this was more like it. He thought gleefully as he remembered his fellow Wonderbolts, still stuck at the nobleman's dinner table. Whooping with the freedom, he opened out his wing and pulled out of the dive, gritting his teeth against the G-forces acting on his internal organs. Pegasus' internal body structures were designed for more powerful changes in direction than other whatever that word.
Wait, where were you at? I'm sorry.
You lost already? Jeez. Equinins? Alright. But that wasn't to say it didn't hurt sometimes. You paid a price for your shows. Aiming himself at the farmhouse in the distance, Soren crested at the tops of the lush apple orchard he was flying across, feeling leaves and the occasional apple fly up in his wake, the trees flickering in the backwash as he aimed himself right for the greenhouse. Most of the lights were still on despite it being after 11. Though the Blue Colt was struck with a bit of guilt as he raised a hoof to knock at the door. Would he be disturbing someone's rest? "I'm coming, hold your hat on," called a voice even before he had knocked, and the door opened to reveal a tan-orange pony, her blonde hair tied back simply and a Stetson perched off to her one side of her head. "Now what in tarnation are you doing in my orchard so late, Dash?" "Now wait a minute, you ain't Dash," she said with a quizzical eye pointed at the blue Pegasus. "Nope, she's up with my friend," admitted Soren, with a slight sheepish grin. "I'm Soren, one of her friends. I was, hungry, and she told me that this was the place to go if you wanted food this late at night," he admitted, and that orange pony's eyes lit up. "Well, ain't that just plumb dandy of her to say so? Well, I guess Sugar Cube Corner ain't open so late. Not that Pinky mind, but shucks, do come in, Soren. My name's Applejack, and you're welcome to anything in the oven. Fritters, pie, strudel, crumble?" she asked, gesturing for the Pegasus to follow her in. Soren couldn't help but smile, noticing the comparison of Applejack to the haughty unicorn's nobleman's daughter at their dinner he'd just come from. He was beginning to like
Hoity?
Hoity? Is that it?
Hoity? No.
No, haughty, I think.
Hottie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unicorn's nobleman's daughter at the dinner he just came from. He was beginning to like Applejack already. "Oh, I'm not bothering you this late at night," he asked with a tilt of his head as Applejack led him to the kitchens of her house, the Wonderbolt doing his best not to stare at the orange furred rump swaying before him. "Ah, shucks. I was kind of hoping for some company, to be honest. I was just playing solitaire down in the living room. Usually I plays card games with my grandma or big brother, but she's with my little sister visiting my relatives, and Big Macintosh is—" Applejack paused in confusion, staring into her hat brim for a while. "Well, consarn it, I don't even remember what Big Mac said what he was doing. He just said he wouldn't be home this evening. Maybe going drinking or something. In which case, I have to box his ears when he gets back for leaving his sister on her lonesome. I'll play cards with you if you like, offered Soren. With a grin as he slipped past Applejack into the kitchen, breathing in the heavenly sense of the baking. The orange earth pony flushed brightly. Well, that's mighty kind of you, Soren. Let's get your dessert first. Huh? What do you fancy? She asked with a smile and a twinkle in her green eyes that Soren found quite attractive. Got any pie? I'm a sucker for a good one, he said with a grin. Applejack's smile eclipsed as she headed for the oven and slipped in a particularly crispy-looking example on into a nearby counter. Might be a little crispy now, you hear? Let it cool a bit. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. No stallion can resist an apple mare's pies, she said with a wink as Soren licked his lips, inhaling the scent of the pie. I bet that's not all they can resist, he said before thinking, suddenly realizing that what he said and stuffing his hooves into his mouth as he cringed. Applejack laughed, but it wasn't a cruel laugh in the slightest. Now, aren't you a charmer? She asked with a grin as she closed up the oven and helped Soren back onto his four hooves. My friend Rarity like that silver tongue of yours. Always a sucker for a stallion with a way of words. That girl is. She chuckled as she touched the pie's crust with an experimental hoof. Seems about right to eat, if you don't mind. A bit hot, she said with a grin, placing it before him. Don't mind if I do, said Soren, eagerly as he dove straight into the pie, surprising Applejack with his hunger as he began to devour the treat. Well, now, Rarity take a mite of offense at that, but I guess it just shows my pies get the stamp of approval from Soren, she said with a chuckle. Soren raised his head from the pie, taking time to lick about his muzzle and clear it before replying, a slightly dazed look in his face. Oh, crap. I pressed a button and I lost it.
You know, you lost where you're at?
No, I got it.
Okay.
I only ever had one pie that tasted this good, he said with a shake of his head, getting a half smile from Applejack. And the other was by some master chef at the last Grand Galloping Gala. I thought it was a shame nobody else seemed to buy from her, he said, tilting his head as he finished as he looked at Applejack's stunned expression. There was a long minute of silence as Applejack simply blinked, peering at Soren. Now hold on one gall-darn minute. You ain't wearing your fancy schmancy flight suit no more, ain't you? You're one of them Wonderbolts, she said with a smile. Now I knows why you're friends with Rainbow Dash. Something wrong, Sugar Cube? She said as if it was Soren's time to open his eyes in disbelief. Wait, that vendor was you? That cute farmer girl in the green boots? He asked, searching Applejack's face for any relatable features. The hair and fur were the same colors, and as were those beautiful green eyes and cute freckles. Applejack was grinning broadly now. It sure as heck was. You were my only sale. I never managed to thank you for that, she said with a flush and a smile. Soren rubbed the back of his neck abashedly. No need to thank me. I guess I should have paid more for the pie, given that it was so delicious, the Wonderball admitted, though it was waved away by the Earth Pony. Now don't you go filling my head with all that fancy talk now. It wasn't your fault that the rest of the Canterlot was too stuck up to appreciate good home cooking. Now that the pie is on the house, I ain't taking no payment from ya. Soren stared for a while at Applejack, the pie forgotten as he took in this cute, simple Earth Pony, willing to part with such a beautifully made pie for nothing at all to save some goodwill. Soren's first instinct was to leave some bits hidden under a plate when he left, but when he realized he left his bit pouch in his flight suit at Rainbow Dash's, that plan of generosity faded. Instead, he offered the next best thing. Soren reached the hoof to cup Applejack's face in one hand, nudging the pie away with another before he closed the distance to the farmer's muzzle quickly, pressing his lips to hers in an affectionate, heartfelt kiss. meant to express his gratitude towards the woman rather than anything more romantic, but strangely romantic. It did become as he breathed in the scent of the pony before him, the rich earthy smell of her day in the field still about her despite her evening bath, the apple scent about her from her orchards. He kept himself there for a while, closing his eyes as he thanked Applejack with his lips. When the kiss broke, he was smiling wildly, and the pony he was with barely seemed to notice that her hat had fallen right back of her head.